Hi there, welcome back to my YouTube channel at P English Literature. Last week I made a video on the wrap up of the books that I've read from January to July, and today I'm making the second wrap up videos of the books that I've read from January to July. Video normal, you can see the Fearless, you can see the Christopher Algerman's Whither Within, the return of the private features, Manor of the Mage, etc. So I'm just going to be taking it one after the other. So let me start this way. So I'm actually going to be doing a kind of a wrap up because the books are already reviewed. I left some reviews on Amazon, I left some reviews on Goodreads, on Google, on some other self-review platforms. So firstly, there are actually some books that I wouldn't be talking too much about, like I wouldn't be laying my emphasis on, while there are some that I would a little bit want to dive a little bit deeper into it. So here is Same Kind of Different as Me by Ron Al and Deva Moro. I actually love this book, even though I do not like the ending of it, and it's something much more interesting, but in a way it looks a little bit I don't know, maybe doubting. And here it's also Philosophical Moves and Stuff by Stephen Peter Oldham. I was sent the book by the author, and I really enjoyed my time reading through it. It's a book of poem, Dr. Side. I also have here Tamora Pies, the Trickashores, and I have here Dragonwings by Lauren Wack. It's a nice book, and I love the design, I love the imprint, and it's actually a nice novel. It's a really nice novel. And here, Doxed After That, Manor of the Mage. That's about that. Then here I have The Return of the Private Features, a love story. I mentioned this book some times ago in one of my video that I made for what's it called? Spencer John's book. So I will talk a little bit about that too. Here I have Whither Within by Captain R. Christopher German. I recently reviewed this in one of my old videos. Here I have Raptor. I love this book. It's really a nice novel. I don't know if you've read it, Raptor. Then here I've got Fearless Conquer the Demon of Purgatory by Shawna Baca. Talked about that also. And here I have an autobiography of Norman Vincent Peale, The Positive Through Joy of Positive Living. Before I move into my wrap up, I would like to mention some books also that I've read in ebook version. I've read Oma Magic's They Were Decimal System. I've also read that of Omotoyinbo Babatope on the Spectrum Among the Neurotypicals, which is actually a novel based on autism spectrum disorder, more specifically in African team, Nigerian team, and the world at large. So I would like to talk some books. I won't be talking much about them. Like here, I won't be talking much about this, so I'm gonna separate some that I'll be laying some kind of emphasis on. I would like to start with Fearless Calculating Movement of Purgatory by Shawna Baca. This book is actually nice. I love it because it's an autobiography, just like this one right in front of me. So Fearless is an autobiography of how Shawna suffered from panic attack, agoraphobia, depression, etc. It's actually, I reviewed it in one of my videos, I think 6 months ago, and I was looking forward to have an interview with Shawna Baca so that we can discuss this book on this channel. I really love it. It's an autobiography book. It's a book that I would solely recommend if you're suffering from panic attack, if you're suffering from agoraphobia, if you're suffering from depression, if you're suffering from any kind of mental health issues, be it whatsoever you want it, drug addiction, depression, etc. And I think the book is a little bit stylishly related to McDougal Jennifer's schizoaffective disorder. I reviewed that, or I mentioned it in one of my wrap-up videos, the first wrap-up video that I did. I mentioned that of Jennifer McDougal schizoaffective disorder, which is actually written based on her own perception. She actually wrote it for a patient or a family guide of those people who suffer from schizoaffective disorder. And so Fearless was written by Shawna Baca, and the book actually started from the 21st, when Shawna Baca was in her 21st year of birthday. That was the fact. That was when she started gaining issues with panic attack, agoraphobia, etc. until she was finally killed inside a sweat lodge by a medicine man in the Pala India reservation. So from this side onward, the rate of agoraphobia, of panic attack, of depression seems to lower down a bit, and Shawna was able to cope with the frink. So I solely recommend this book for whoever that suffer from panic attack, that suffer from agoraphobia, that suffer from kind of some. I love this book again. There's something I love about it, which is the spirituality of it. It made me remember, African spirituality and American Indian spirituality. I love it. Fearless is really a good read. It's really a fantastic read for whoever find it interesting. I left a review of the book on Amazon. Yeah, I left a review of the book on Amazon some week past, and it's actually a nice one, and the book is doing excellently on Amazon. You should go try and check it out. Also, I have Raptor here. I won't be talking much about this thing because it's actually garage news. It's a kind of a fiction novel, and it's made up of 150 pages thereabouts. It's actually a short read. I love the twisting, the plot, the characterization, even though I don't have much to say about it. So here is Whither Within by Captain R. Christopher German. I recently reviewed this book some weeks past on this channel, and it's actually nice because it tells a story that is more particular to military scene. It talks about the instance of Gus and Spyros and Gate. So I actually love the book because it is action packed. It reads like a movie, but specifically like a military movie, like a war film. And I love the twisting, the characterization, the plot twist, because a novel or a chapter will talk about a battle of protagonists and the other one will talk, reminding me of George Ramsey's Doctor After Death. I was sent this copy of this book by the author, and I love it. It's actually very interesting, even though it has some kind of a formatting issues at some point. Talked about that. That actually is not a big issue. So here is a Return of the Private Fischer by Robert Fischer. I once talked about this book in one of my old-time review where I reviewed for Spencer John's The Wholesome Lady. I seem not to love the ending of the novel, even though it's in some point I was frustrated while reading it. Sorry about that. The next one here is Dusk After Dark, Manor of the Mage, Book 1 by Gregory Ramsey. I recently have an interview with Mr. Gregory here, and we were able to discuss this book, Dusk After Dark. It's actually an impressive book that reads like a movie because it's a vampire adventure. It's a kind of book that is good for archaeologists. It's a kind of book that is good for literature enthusiasts, and it explains the sort of the reaction that the protagonist Sophia had, and her fate to go in kind of a congruent with the old Bobista, which was going to be a vampire that is actually going to destroy womanhood. I love the book because it is full of action. It is actually action-packed, and my intense love for it was what actually prompted me to have a talk with the author, Mr. Gregory Ramsey. It's a nice book. I solely recommend it for fiction lovers. And here is Dragonwings and Related Reading. It's actually a collection of stories, of short stories by McDougal, Littel. I love it just that there are some instances that I cannot really point out some things, and there's some part whereby I see that the characterization is not really moving forward. There's a kind of a twist somewhere which was quite very boring to me. I'm sorry about that. It's actually very boring because at some point the thing is not really moving forward, and I was like, there's a kind of a mix-up somewhere. Well, that's about that. And here is Tyrone Parks, Frederica's Choice. I've also spoke about this book in one of my review under Spencer John's book. I think you should read my review on Spencer John's book, The Awesome Lady. I left a link in the description part of this video. Most of this book, I left reviews of them on Amazon, like that of Dusk After Death. I left a review of it on Amazon, and I also left a review on the With Captain Christopher R. German, Whither Within. So this also I left a review of it on Amazon. I love it. It's actually a very impressive novel of 356 pages. It's a nice one. And here comes Philosophical Muse and Stuff by Stephen Peter Oldham. I love this book because it's actually a collection of poems and some kind of short stories and some kind of meditative music. But the title is actually very funny, philosophical music and stuff and nonsense. It's really nice, but there are some parts that speak about some companies that do give people loan in the United Kingdom. There's also some part that is actually, to my own perception, I will call it, is actually autobiographical, because there's some part whereby the author wrote things that are particular to him, to his children, and to some people he had to come about in his life. So this philosophical moves and stuff, I left a review of it on Amazon. It's actually a nice read. It's a collection of short stories, of some moves, some philosophical moves, and some kind of poems in a presentation manner. And the last one here, it's the same kind of different as me. I love this book, and it's actually a short read. Because of my love for it too, I left a review of it on Amazon. So this is actually the books I've read so far, and my second wrap up for January to July here. Same kind of me, and philosophical moves and stuff. Tamora Pies, The Tricker's Choice, Dragonwings, and related readings. Manor of the Mage, Ducks After that. Return of the Private Features, that about that. Whither Within by Captain R. Christopher German here. The Raptor, Jennings here you go. Then Fearless Calculating Movement of Gregory. Here you go. And The True Story of Positive Living, an autobiography. Very interesting. I love this book. If you want to know the true story of positive living, you should read this book. It is actually very interesting, it is motivational, and it's something that you really enjoy reading. Okay, thank you so much for watching my review wrap up for the month of July. If you've not subscribed to this channel, please do hit the subscribe button over there. If you're returning subscribers, please be sure to stay. And thank you so much for watching my videos. See you